The country's top intelligence officials testified in the Senate today, assessing Russia's plans in Ukraine, the threat of TikTok, and the origins of COVID, which, as Nick Schifrin reports, was also the subject of its own hearing in the House.
Good morning. I'm going to call this hearing to order.
In the Senate Intelligence Committee today, the woman and men who lead the country's intelligence community detailed a world full of threats. Starting with Russia's war in Ukraine, Wagner private military contractors are besieging the eastern city of Bakhmut, the longest and deadliest battle of the war. Ukraine is trying to inflict heavy Russian losses. Those losses are adding up, Director of National Intelligence Avril Haines said today.
It will be increasingly challenging for them to sustain even the current level of offensive operations in the coming months, and consequently, they may fully shift to holding and defending the territories they now occupy.
Haines said Russian President Vladimir Putin is focused on, quote, more modest military objectives, but warned he could fight a long war.
Putin most likely calculates that time works in his favor and that prolonging the war, including with potential pauses in the fighting, may be his best remaining pathway to eventually securing Russia's strategic interests in Ukraine, even if it takes years.
Could they use TikTok to control data on millions of users?
The hearing also focused on technology companies that answer to the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, especially the hugely popular video app TikTok. A new bipartisan bill could lead to a complete ban and is supported by the White House. Today, Intelligence Committee Vice Chairman Marco Rubio asked FBI Director Chris Wray about the app's potential threats.
Could they use it to control the software on millions of devices, given the opportunity to do so?
Yes.
Could they use it to drive narratives, like to divide Americans against each other?
Yes. This is a tool that is ultimately within the control of the Chinese government, and to me, it screams out with national security concerns.
The fact that the intelligence community still disagrees on the origins of COVID is concerning.
Senators also asked about the origins of COVID, which began spreading at the end of 2019 in the central Chinese city of Wuhan.
The FBI has long assessed, going all the way back to the summer of 2021, that the origin of the pandemic was likely a lab incident in Wuhan.
But the intelligence community remains divided. The FBI concluded with moderate confidence that COVID leaked from a Wuhan lab, an assessment now shared by the Department of Energy with low confidence. But other agencies have assessed, also with low confidence, COVID likely occurred naturally.
China has not fully cooperated, and we do think that's a key critical gap that would help us to understand what exactly happened.
Where did COVID-19 come from?
It was also the subject of another more politicized hearing by the House Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic. Republicans and their witnesses went beyond the intelligence community conclusions and argued the Wuhan Institute of Virology, with U.S. funding, artificially combined viruses in a process known as gain of function. And those experiments created viruses that mirrored COVID-19's unique attributes. Robert Redfield is a virologist and was the director of the Centers for Disease Control when COVID began.
While many believe that gain-of-function research is critical to get ahead of viruses by developing vaccines, in this case, I believe it was the exact opposite, unleashing a new virus to the world without any means of stopping it and resulting in the deaths of millions of people.
Do you believe there was a cover-up?
Republicans repeatedly accused Dr. Anthony Fauci, the former head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, of promoting the naturally occurring theory and silencing the lab leak theory.
I don't think I used the word cover-up. Okay. I think there was an attempt to misguide, redirect the debate.
Last night in the New York Times, Dr. Fauci called Republican allegations false and misleading and said he's always kept an open mind about COVID's origins. China has largely stonewalled efforts to investigate independently. Jamie Metzel is an Atlantic Council senior fellow.
If we make it primarily about Dr. Fauci, we will be inappropriately serving the Chinese government a propaganda coup.
Most leading scientists still argue COVID spread naturally from humans to animals. But regardless of the cause, finding the origin is critical. Paul Auwerter was the president of the Infectious Diseases Society of America.
We can learn valuable lessons from these investigations to prevent outbreaks and pandemics of any origin.
But it's not clear if the world will ever know the origin of a disease that has killed nearly 7 million people and counting. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Nick Schifrin.